Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy, and the world's smartest internet show. Bell the Body Snatcher on the ones and twos. He, as always, is Corey Walsh.
And he's Dan Griffin.
And we did have a slow news week up until, about yesterday, when Anthony Fauci did something that was supposed to maybe resemble a testimony in front of us, in front of Congress. That's not exactly what we got. We're going to start the show there, but
actually, I have the whole entire fucking testimony right here.
Under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you.
That was pretty much it. He did that like 111 times.
There was also an alleged fart at Lindsey Graham's funeral, which is so perfectly poetic. Haley Stevens is absolutely embarrassing herself as she tries to take this Michigan Democratic Senate primary. The Iran war is not going well, Corey. I don't know if we've talked about that a whole lot, but have we
talked about that at all?
Yeah, it's getting to a point now, though, where it's not just embarrassing. It may actually be getting dangerous in a few different ways. We'll talk about that. And Chuck Schumer had a visitor as he decided to talk and do a little, what was he doing? Like a little press conference or whatever regarding Trump's corruption that was pretty goddamn hilarious. So what else we got, Corey? That's it? Did you have anything that we're gonna bring up, or are we're gonna jump right into this?
Did you guys happen to watch the Nick Fuentes Hunter Biden podcast? I have that, and then and then I got some timestamps for the Abdul Al Sayed Haley Stevens debate in Michigan. That's garnering, I would say. What would you say, Dan? Would you say that this debate is garnering about the same amount, more or less, as the Thomas Massie Ed Galbraith primary?
I would say less, but I'm biased because I actually like Thomas Massie, and I can't stand either of these two candidates. And so, it may be more because it's a Senate race.
It's a Senate race, yes, but like it's another one that millions and millions and millions of dollars from big corporate PAC funded, backing is going to one candidate to try to oust the other.
It's pretty great. But let's start with Anthony Fauci, man. If he hadn't already been completely and utterly degraded into the human scum that he actually is, he made it even more clear at his little hearing. Polar Knights likes your beard?
Yeah, he says he likes my beard. He wants to yell salam alaikum at me.
If that's the case, you are Corey would be the whitest Muslim on planet.
The whitest and the worst.
That's not true, because there's like Uzbekistan, like those folks out there on the
yeah, but do you have
way out east? There's some pretty white. There's some pretty major whiteys over there.
Fucking pork chops and pork belly and bacon and fucking pork tenderloin and fucking.
Thank you for your diatribe.
We haven't even gotten to Chucky Schumer yet. Anthony Fauci. What did we think of? We hadn't talked about him at all
in a
while, and I feel like we maybe should have not let this slip past our radar. My favorite thing about this little hearing, which by the way, let's call it what it is. We say this about all of these little committee hearings and these Senate Judiciary Committee hearings and all basically any hearing that is in front of Congress it's a political show. And this was no different. However, occasionally you'll get some really good nuggets out of these things. So Anthony Fauci, hold on, I got to get to my notes are all out of whack here. There we go. I think if he wasn't toast before, he has to be now, because anybody that still believes that Anthony Fauci is a hero, A, doesn't know anything, and B, you're never going to change their mind anyway because they're partisan hacks.
Yeah, if it's been 5 years, 6 years, or no, I would say 5 years since shit finally started to kind of level out here when it came to COVID. If everything that's come out with under the Biden administration, the Department of Energy, FBI, under Biden, we're saying, yeah, it looks like it came from Wuhan lab or from the Wuhan lab, and all the other type of different things that came out when he was caught saying how the 6 feet was kind of arbitrary, the masks were kind of arbitrary. They were basically just throwing shit at the wall to see what would work because they had no idea what they were supposed to do. Thank God it did turn out to be a virus that wasn't that deadly. Because if it was, could you imagine if the death rate when COVID happened in the beginning, because they were only testing the sickest people. So remember in the very beginning, it was like a 10% death rate. It was like, holy fuck, but then everyone freaked out about it. But then as they started just mass testing fucking everybody, if you were sick, you had to go home and prove you didn't have COVID with a test you had to go buy at the store. So all of a sudden the reported, it dropped down to 0.1% or 0.01% or something. It was less deadly than the flu. Mm-hmm. And there was just no pivot. As that number went down to that number, the vaccines came out, and then they were trying to force people into getting it. People were getting ostracized, and everyone was in these different unique situations. Like me, for a person, I've been told COVID was 5 years ago, let it go.
Yeah,
and then I guess
that's what people who were wrong the entire time like to say, because it's a way for them to not have to deal with the fact that they were wrong.
Because those same people won't let January 6th go.
I'm sure they won't, Corey. Good, because they're all partisan hacks.
Those same people won't let they it's just insane of what is important and what isn't to people based on their little thing where it's it's all important. I'm not going to let January 6th go, and I'm not going to let fucking the shit that happened with COVID go. I was ostracized and treated like a second-class citizen at certain points. In the place that I worked, I had to wear a mask because I wasn't.
You were a plague rat, Corey.
And it sounds trivial now because it was 5 years. It's it was fucking annoying because I have my beard. Assalamu alaikum.
Israel would never have done that to us.
And my beard was pulling into my shit, and I constantly had to readjust it, and it would fall off my nose. And it was everyone was well, you could just get rid of it if you just get the vaccine. But me personally, everyone's situation was fucking different. And me, I was donating blood plasma at the time. And guess what? People who had COVID were getting blood transfusions from people who had COVID. And it was literally saving lives. My dad, who turned 80 years, he's 80 years.
Can somebody explain that to me?
80 years young this year. It wasn't my personal plasma, but it was people like me donating blood plasma who had COVID that literally saved his life. Okay. And I was getting shit talked to me because I wasn't getting the vaccine. And I said, I'm doing better, more good. I'm doing better good than these people.
Corey, things can just go. You can have your things back. Things can they can go back to normal if you just do this thing.
That's what it felt like. Even though I was the net positive. And I remember hearing people say that if you don't get vaccinated, you should have your kids taken away from you. And it's what the fuck are you guys talking about?
You're a murderer.
And now, you're killing grandma. And now it's, we got to get over it. And it's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not going to get over it. I'm not going to get over it. And here's why.
It was like, remember that Taylor Lorenz?
It was the biggest
Taylor
fucking
Lorenz article?
transfer. It was the biggest fucking transfer of wealth from the working class up to the fucking top 1%. Millions of small business owners lost their shit while big boxes were allowed to stay open. The government overreach. You want to talk about being a free country? Oh, America goes, yeah, like, you know, like, yeah, you all got your health care, yeah, but we got freedom. The fuck we do,
dude.
They locked everyone home. We had to drive around with fucking papers. No, I'm not gonna forget about that.
You know.
And I'm gonna vote for anyone who is like, you know what I mean. I'm not gonna vote for anyone who supported that shit.
You know what's so funny about what you just said? It's the same people that are going, it was 5 years ago, just forget about it, are the same people that are like advocating for socialism right now. For the most part.
It's you think more government is
so sorry about that. Let's continue with the subject at hand.
So I'm you know what's funny about that drop? It doesn't even actually make sense to people yet, but we'll get there. I'm generally not one to say that taking the fifth is automatic.
Liberty Twitcher brought up a whole other point. You know, male loneliness, you know, fucking suicide rates, all this shit with young people. Like, it's
the fact that kids can't read.
Yeah.
So I'm generally not one to say that pleading the fifth or taking the fifth in this case is automatically makes somebody guilty of a crime. I think the Fifth Amendment is actually a really good amendment.
It's an important one.
Protect you against to protect you from incriminating yourself.
And here's why:
against your government.
It's not just about keeping your mouth shut. It's you are protected from the government compelling your speech. It's almost as important as the Second Amendment, because the Second Amendment affords you to say whatever the fuck you want, and then but then the Constitution also says no, you don't have to say shit.
But I have one major exception when I say that I generally don't think that it makes you automatically guilty to take the fifth. Because you know how people say that, like, why are you taking the fifth? Well, you got to hide, right? I have one major exception. And that is when a former high-ranking government employee that already has a blanket preemptive pardon sits in front of Congress and does it.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be
and already pardoned.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Already pardoned.
Preemptive pardons. So Fauci, I think, honestly, he's toast in every way possible. And the reason I know that is because even the Zionists are coming after him. Eli Lake put out his own little piece. I guess you would call it what's the word? Editorial piece at The Free Press, which is a Barry Weiss-owned entity. We all know where that all comes from. And the title of it, I didn't even need to read it. Honestly, yes, I'm one of those people that saw the headlines, and that was enough for me, at least in this case, because the headline read that Anthony Fauci's record convicts him on its own. Now, is that just a distraction? It's a wonderful distraction for the Zionists for us to continue to talk about Fauci, but it's not just a distraction. It's also incredibly important. Why is this so important? Well, it has to do with Anthony Fauci's diary that was released by Rand Paul, a lot of times the only adult in the room, in the Senate at least. And here are some of the key takeaways, Corey. You ready for these?
Yeah.
So the first one being COVID-19 origins and the Wuhan market. So early on in like late January of 2020, there's an entry. I think this is from January 26th of 2020. No lockdowns have happened yet. We're still sitting at home kind of joking about this thing. Like, this is probably going to be a little bit. This will be like swine flu. Like nobody's taking it seriously still at this point. Fauci's diary entry from that day noted that epidemiological and genomic data indicated the first infection in early December and was not connected to the original wet market. Remember the wet market? It came from bats. The actual quote is, Now we know that the market was not the source. It was the amplifier, end quote. And Rand Paul stressed that the wet market was already, quote unquote, off the table in Fauci's private notes. Yet Fauci and others continued to publicly emphasize a natural origin tied to the wet market while downplaying alternatives. Fauci still wrote in the same entry that the virus had jumped from animals to humans somewhere.
Yeah, well, he was funding that place through grants.
So he already knew that it didn't come from the wet market, and we were all told that it came from the wet market.
Can somebody explain that to me?
That's in January 6th of 2020. So the second thing is early scientific discussions of a possible lab origin / deliberate insertion. Now, deliberate, not deliberate, that's an argument for another time. What we do know is that it, came from a lab. We know this now. So on February 1st of 2020, a conference call with about a dozen scientists linked to what became the proximal origin paper, Fauci notes recorded that only 2 were confident that the unusual genetic features could arise naturally. Quote, that the rest of those people felt that deliberate insertion was possible. And what he was referencing was work at the Wuhan lab on the gain of function research involving coronavirus spike proteins. And so then Rand Paul described this as never a 50-50 room, as Fauci said at one time. Oh, we weren't sure it was 50-50 at one time, but apparently it never was. And said that it undercut later public claims that a lab origin was implausible. So that kind of moves us into discrepancy between private thoughts and public messaging. So Rand Paul repeatedly was quoting Fauci when he said what he wrote privately and what he told the country are 2 different stories. He pointed to Fauci privately acknowledging uncertainties and possibilities, including lab-related scenarios, which publicly supporting natural origin narratives and papers that dismiss lab leak ideas more firmly. Later entries showed that Fauci adjusted public language amid speculation, like saying no one was 100% certain in calling for an investigation because I'm Dr. Truth Science. So basically, his private thoughts and what he was telling the public were completely different. And one of the more disgusting things I think that came out of this diary was Anthony Fauci's relentless relishing in the fame and the media attention, with numerous entries stating that Fauci's awareness of his celebrity and apparent enjoyment of his intense positive publicity, media profiles, merchandise, bobbleheads, beer named after him, St. Fauci, these items, celebrity interactions, who can get me on the best cable news show, and mentioned how flattering these things were, and claims of being among the most famous and recognizable people in the world. And Rand Paul spent a lot of time portraying this as Fauci glorying in the positive attention, while deaths mounted, and contrasted it with the treatment and all of the critics.
Yeah, it's a weird the narrative he was writing in his diary for himself about how famous he was, and not about any sort of remorse that millions of people are dying on his watch.
This is what sociopaths do.
And it's always interesting too for me that when it comes to those numbers, everyone said China was like stifling their numbers. And it was interesting to see, like, based on like the economic and like the money behind the incentive of this, and how China, when people in China, like, I feel like probably roughly the same amount of people died in both countries strictly from COVID, I guess is what I'm getting at. Because in China, they were trying to show the world that their numbers dropped because if somebody had COVID, but then they died of a heart attack, they weren't counting it as a COVID death. Whereas in America, we were counting that as a COVID death.
Car crashes.
Because in America, the hospitals and the health industry was getting incentives through the CARES Act from the government to get a little bit extra money if they were dealing with the COVID death versus like a regular run of the mill car crash or
so Liberty wants to know who has the best worst place in hell, Fauci or Lindsey Graham. Well, Fauci's not there yet. I'm sure he's going. So right now, I guess it's Lindsey Graham, just kind of by default. That's an interesting question, though.
I still think Lindsey Graham.
Well, okay. So you have to ask this question: who's responsible for more death and destruction? Is it Anthony Fauci or is it Lindsey Graham? I don't think that's an easy question.
One's explicit, one's implicit.
And I guess what you could say,
and
like
implicity
if you're giving
and explicit, doing something explicit and then being implicit are two like there's very different like action behind each one. And Lindsey Graham is definitely a worse human being than Fauci.
And I guess if you're being as generous as you can to Anthony Fauci, which is tough for me to do, but I'm going to try. Being as generous as you can be
in comparison to Lindsey Graham. It's not that you're really not doing much, Dan. It's like comparing stepping in dog shit or sitting in dog shit.
No. I'm actually trying to be as generous as possible given what we know about Anthony Fauci. There doesn't seem to be.
That's a good question.
There doesn't seem to be any. Like, I don't believe that Anthony Fauci was like, I'm going to create this virus so a bunch of people die, right? Which is something that people imply. I don't think that was Anthony Fauci's goal.
No,
I akin the deaths that Anthony Fauci is responsible for more to like manslaughter as opposed to murder. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean he's not ridiculously responsible and should spend lots of time in prison for it. And he did it based a lot on his own hubris. Hold on. What did Brandon say? I like this one. Who went in between his mattress and grabbed his diary? I wish that were the case.
Rand Paul, I'm pretty sure sneaking in like a 1920s robber.
I'm pretty sure it was subpoenaed, but I do like the visualization of Rand Paul just sneaking into Fauci's, like probably $3 million Upper East Side apartment while he's in the shower. It's just creeping under his mattress, grabbing it with one of those little grabber things.
Yeah, the ones that have like the extendo thing.
Preposterous.
But yeah, no, what happened with Fauci was like it's the same thing that happened with Whitmer here when it comes to COVID. It was all cover up. And it was an accident, and the crime is the cover up. Versus Lindsey Graham just literally explicitly lobbying to just kill brown people. You know,
what did he
because it was all about
what did he have to do? What did he have to do to get in the bedroom? I don't know. You might have to ask Lindsey Graham.
Yeah. And so, you know what I mean? Like, because let's be honest, like, I don't think there is a like in all these different labs and stuff. It's about the money. It's not an evil intent. They were trying to find probably the cure to the goddamn common cold, and they needed to expedite the fucking virus infecting things to try to find a fucking vaccine to fix it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it was I don't think he intentionally released it. I think it was a mistake. I think there was malfeasance. The people there caught it a little bit. It was super contagious. And then you went to a wet market into a close proximity area. And then it just fucking spread like wildfire.
Faster than wild.
Remember in the beginning, they weren't calling it a respiratory virus.
It's involved in 9/11.
With Fauci and Lindsey Graham, that might be true.
Preposterous.
Oh man. Anyway, where was I going to go? Oh yeah, this was the last thing I was going to kind of mention from the diary. So this is kind of a dear diary. I'm Dr. Truth Science. Key
People
mentions
believe in me.
From February 1st, 2020. Again, this is before lockdowns. This is kind of around the time where people started going, oh shit, maybe this might actually kind of end up being a big deal. Actually, as a little side note before I go into this, do you remember when you first went, whether you believed it was like dangerous or not, but you knew it was going to be like a big global thing, like it was going to be a big deal? I remember
when other countries started to shut down.
That wasn't even it for me. You know what it was? This is how fucking stupid I was at the time. It was when the fucking sports leagues shut down. I was like, oh shit, the NBA's not going to play anymore. Or, you know, the NFL's shutting down their season and college football shutting down.
Do you remember that whole fucking scene when they were playing a game and someone on the team like tested positive and the whole
Rudy Gobert.
and the whole
Gobert.
fucking bench cleared and shit, and everyone's like, "Go away!" And it's just like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I also remember, and it's so funny too because the way everyone pivoted as soon as they got their marching orders from like their political figureheads.
Right.
I remember this one person sharing about this COVID shit before it was here and sharing like was it like world infographs or whatever, like it was some like .org, it was like some third party like organization like org website, and it was just showing the daily numbers, the report of cases, and they shared it, and this was before the shutdown or anything, and I remember looking at it, and this person was a known conspiracy theorist. And I remember looking at it and being like, oh, geez, I guess I'll go try to talk this guy off a ledge. And I look up Corona and I'm like, dude, Corona's the common cold. Like, quit trying to just fear monger. Just thinking that there's something going on.
It is.
Boy, was I wrong. And then I remember people who were like Republicans talking about this and being concerned. And then as soon as it became political and the Democrats were the concerned one, he was like, this is bullshit. Like, what the fuck? Like, when you were free thinking, like, you sound so much smarter before you take your marching orders, dude.
Dude, the odd thing was it was completely bipartisan and everyone agreed. The only people that were against it from the start, which, by the way, does not include me, right? I was one of those people that was like, this will pass. 2 weeks to stop the spread. I believed all that shit. I'm not proud of it, but I believed all that shit. The only people that were speaking out against this were like the libertarian types. The people that were like, no. They don't just get to take away our liberties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think COVID might have been the first.
I remember
arguing
my first
step. I think COVID might have been my first step into that sort of anarcho-capitalist libertarian mindset. I think that might have been the first thing that was like, ooh, maybe these people are right. But anyway,
yeah,
I didn't mean to get off.
I remember arguing with people saying there's precedence for this. The 1918 swine flu,
right.
You know, or was it the swine flu back then? It was was it considered the swine flu?
Well, and it was one of those things too where you were so wrong, because I was saying the same kind of thing. You were so wrong because it's like doesn't mean it was the correct thing to do then either. You know what I mean?
Right. It's hilarious, right? But I also remember saying since the very beginning that, and this is unrecorded on a previous podcast about that, while encouraging masks and the vaccine are probably a good thing, I don't think the government should ever mandate it. And that was a clear principle I had from the very beginning.
Well,
I'm still not vaccinated.
Now it's turning out that they shouldn't have encouraged.
Yeah, I'll say it. I'll say it.
Yeah.
I'm not vaccinated.
There was a time where you would have done it, though. Yeah,
I'm not.
Remember, because the only reason you didn't was because you were doing blood plasma. I remember having this conversation.
Making money, yeah. And I remember being like more open to it and stuff, because at that point, like family members were getting it. You were on here parading your card. We need to find that clip.
If I remember correctly, because I lost that thing like a week later. I had no fucking clue where it was. If I remember correctly, it was me going like, I get to go outside now.
Yeah. No, it was interesting because I remember like I wasn't in the very beginning. It wasn't like so much about even government overreach for me. It was just like, oh wow, this is interesting. Everyone's staying home. This is kind of exciting, you know. Like the first like 2 weeks or whatever, you know, like me and Bella both went.
It was like a sleepover.
Yeah. Me and Bella went to the store. Like it was like the last time we saw each other for like ended up being a couple months. We just went filled up shopping carts with stuff, and we're like, I'm gonna get this. Who knows? You know, this like it felt like a prepper. It was exciting.
In the middle of the night.
Not in the middle of the night. Yeah, we went when like not a lot of people were gonna be there. And I remember I found some. Do you remember, Bella? It was like with Andy. I was either with you or Andy, but there was a return cart in the customer service area. And it had like 8 rolls of toilet paper, and there was no toilet papers on the shelf. And I just like everyone was like kind of running around and still freaking out and had all these masks on and shit. And I went up there and I snuck behind the fucking counter and grabbed the fucking 4 rolls and threw them in my cart. And I'll never forget. And I hope the
human
old
beings
lady.
are stupid.
And it's when it was really bad and it was affecting old people the most. And I remember walking out of that store with all of this shit and looking back, and the lady who was running all of the self-serve registers was this lady that was probably like 85 years old. And I remember looking at her, and she was looking at me, and she had a look of fear on her face. And I remember thinking, I don't know if that girl's going to make it. I don't know if she did or not. She might have. She might not have. She might have died of a stroke, but called COVID.
Thank you for your diatribe.
What I was getting at.
Sorry about that.
Honestly,
let's continue with the subject at hand.
We were. Honestly, I started that tangent. I can't even get mad at you for that.
I know, but it's a weird trip to go down memory lane and look at that like 5 years back. Like I remember like having papers in my car and like kind of bragging to my friends, like I can go wherever I want, and you guys are all stuck at home because I'm an essential worker. And I got free schooling out of it.
Yeah, now you're a full communist.
Yeah, there you go. Almost as much as Trump.
Some of the key mentions, this is like the last thing from Fauci's diary that I have. And then we'll get to Josh Hawley, Bell. I see that you pulled him up because I think that's the only actual part of the testimony worth playing. February 1st of 2020. So again, as I was saying, before shit went haywire. It's about a conference call with scientists debating the virus's features, including the fur and cleavage site, right? Remember Fauci talking about that a whole, but I still don't know what the fuck that means. I don't really give a shit. But Fauci noted that only 2 of roughly a dozen participants were confident that the features could arise naturally. This is before lockdowns. This is before it was crazy yet. The diary quotes, the rest felt that, I'm sorry, I think this is a quote from Rand Paul. The rest felt that the deliberate insertion, no, this is from the diary. I'm sorry. I'll get this right eventually. The rest felt that the deliberate insertion was possible. And given the fact that Dr. Zhengli Shi at the University of Wuhan has been working for years in GOF in coronaviruses to allow adaptation of the spike protein to bind to the human ACE2 receptor, we could not let this go. What could GOF stand for, Corey?
Go off, fucker.
I think most people think it means gain of function. Could it mean something else? Could it mean something else? I suppose it could.
It's probably gain of function. I don't know. Google it. Go ahead. Google what GOF means. No, I'm just kidding.
I already asked Grok.
Yes, Claude. Before we get to, go ahead. Sorry.
It's so obvious that he lied about gain of function. Like the first time when Rand Paul was grilling him, whatever it was 4 years ago, and he was like, Senator, with all due respect, you have no idea what you're talking about. Rand Paul knew what he's talking about. Because Rand Paul's an actual doctor. He's not a paper doctor like Anthony Fauci.
Yeah. And now before we get into that Josh Hawley video.
So I can't imagine why he took the fifth.
Because we're talking about pleading the fifth all day. And we're sitting here, we're talking about, and this is where the brain rot is in our country, right? The brain rot of the two-party system of the left versus right. My side valuable, your side infallible. Or I'm sorry, I got that
other way around.
My side infallible, your side valuable.
I think you mean fallible, but sure.
Yeah, fallible. Everyone right now who's on the right is going, see, he's pleading the fifth. He's guilty.
I tend to agree.
I got this video. Right. And now again, you and I personally think they're both fucking guilty.
So, Mr. Trump, I take it you are not going to answer any questions about your preparation today with your counsel. Is that correct?
Should I say this or should I respond to that? For all of the reasons provided in my answer, which is incorporated herein.
It's killing Trump to do this, though.
I decline to answer the question.
That killed him. He wanted to answer that question so bad.
Same answer.
I give him credit there.
Same answer. Same answer. Same answer. Anyone in my position not taking the Fifth Amendment would be a fool, an absolute fool. One statement or answer that is ever so slightly off, just ever so slightly, by accident, by mistake, such as it was a sunny and beautiful day when actually it was slightly overcast, would be met by law enforcement at a level seldom seen in this country. I've experienced it. The United States Constitution exists for this very purpose, and I will utilize it to the fullest extent and defend myself against this malicious attack by this administration, this Attorney General's office, and all other attacks on my family, my business, and our country.
What's that all about?
Under the advice of my counsel and for all of the above reasons, I respectfully decline to answer the questions under the rights and privileges afforded to every citizen under the United States Constitution. This will be my answer to any further questions.
But don't both of these like constant pleading of the fifths, whether it's Trump or Fauci, doesn't it just speak to what a joke our government actually is? Because honestly, wait a minute, hold on. Honestly, and I'll let you answer the question. I hope you won't plead the fifth, but it speaks to what a joke our government actually is, because from a pragmatic perspective, both Trump and Fauci taking the fifth in these situations, it does make sense. I completely understand why both guys did it, and it made them look terrible. But we've gotten to a spot where these things are witch hunts. And I'm somebody who believes
terrible in a 24-hour news cycle, or possibly incriminate yourself and go to prison.
Right, exactly. I'd rather look terrible in a 24-hour
Under the
news
advice
cycle.
of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
But the thing is, both of these things, in both situations, whether it was Trump or whether it was Fauci, they kind of were witch hunts. Now, in the case of Fauci, I think the fucker's guilty as shit. But our government has been so degraded and so, we got to attack the Democrats to make the Republicans look better, and the Republicans have to attack the Democrats to make the Democrats look like shit, or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's all just a mirage. It's all a facade for, quote unquote, the deep state, whatever the hell that means, to continue to stay in power. So like the whole thing is just a complete joke. There's nothing serious about any of it. I said at the top of the show that Fauci's testimony yesterday was 100% political theater. It absolutely was. And it's sad that it was political theater, because it's something that actually is really fucking important. Because it was something that led to, I don't know, countless deaths.
So based on his under oath testimonies and what his diary is saying, he did perjure himself.
Right. And here's the thing. Why would you plead the fifth in that situation? Because Anthony Fauci, regardless of what you think of him, the dude is responsible for countless deaths. So Dave Smith put it really well in his episode this morning that I listened to, where
even if it's incompetence, like you said, manslaughter.
Right, but it even goes more than that. Like we know now that the vaccine, we've known for a while that the vaccine didn't work as intended, and we know even more now that it basically didn't fucking work at all. And so what did you do, Anthony Fauci? You put this vaccine out and told everybody that if you get the vaccine, you can't spread the virus. Well, now people went out and got the vaccine, and they think, I'm vaccinated, I can go see grandma now. Right? What happened? They went and saw grandma. They gave him COVID. But if they hadn't made this vaccine out to be something that was this cure-all, maybe those people don't go see grandma that day. Right? So you want to talk about killing grandma? Who's more responsible for that? I can't take credit for that. Dave Smith made that point. I thought it was, it's those examples, and then we've seen it in our comments about, loneliness problems and depression and people getting fucking fat and becoming alcoholics, which I fucking did over that time period. I think I put on fucking 40 pounds.
I drank a lot of liquor.
Drinking a lot.
I drank a lot. Me and all the boys would just use like Zoom, or like there was an app that came out called House Party, and there would be I'd have my laptop screen up and there'd be 9 of us on the screen, because I'm a very, very, very extroverted person. So I was absolutely feeling secluded and alone. I remember listening to music that had shitty audio quality with a little bit of like feedback in it and stuff like that, and thinking, oh my God, this just sounds like live music in a dingy basement bar, and how much I miss this. And I remember when I finally got back out after everything started to get lifted, and being in Nashville, Tennessee, and being at like a bar, at like a kind of a club, and it was on a rooftop, and it was like hot out, so people were sweaty, and it was playing club music, and I brushed up against somebody, and their sweat brushed against my arm, and at first it was like, huh, and then it was just like, oh my God, this is a sense of normalcy. I felt normal again after COVID, just because somebody sweaty rubbed up against me that I didn't know. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck did they do to us?
Sorry about that. Let's continue with the subject at hand.
Going back real quick. So Anthony Fauci, he pleaded the fifth at like 111 times or whatever.
I don't know how many times it
Just
was.
to keep this show on an even keel, on August 10th, that video I shared with Trump, he pleaded the fifth 440 times.
Wow. And it killed him. And it killed Fauci too. We're going to see it here. Bell, go ahead and pull up Josh Hawley. I only want to pull up Josh Hawley's questioning. I'll say it again. It's definitely political theater, but it doesn't mean it's not important in certain ways. There are days I really like Josh Hawley. Kind of like there are days I really think that Nancy Mace is hot, and then there are days where I don't think she's so hot.
Like that episode of Seinfeld with the lighting.
Yeah, she looked good the other day, man. Ooh, Nancy Mace in that rack. Anyway, go ahead and roll Josh Hawley for us here, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something.
That's not
What day of the
fair.
week is it?
Whatever. Here we go.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
To answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally, cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon
Look
my
at
rights under the Fifth
Fauci's
Amendment to the
face.
Constitution.
Dude, that killed Anthony Fauci to be sitting up there. Like, tell me the look on that man's face was not just sheer embarrassment.
Right. So the Brown v. Walker case that Josh Hawley, when we talk about whether or not Fauci could be held in contempt for just,
I don't give a fuck.
The Brown v. Walker is a landmark U.S. Supreme Court case that established an important principle about the Fifth Amendment's protection against self-incrimination. Charles Brown was called to testify before a federal grand jury investigating violations of the Interstate Commerce Act. He refused to answer certain questions, arguing that his answers might incriminate him. But Congress had already passed a law granting immunity from federal prosecution for testimony compelled under the act. Brown argued that that wasn't good enough and that the Fifth Amendment allowed him to remain silent regardless. So the legal question that this case ensued, that ensued this case, was can the government force someone to testify if it grants them immunity from prosecution based on the testimony? The court's 5-4 ruled against Brown. It held that the Fifth Amendment protects people from being criminally prosecuted using their own compelled testimony, not from testifying in every circumstance. If the government provides immunity that protects the witness from prosecution based on that testimony, then the witness no longer faces the danger of the Fifth Amendment. No faces the danger the Fifth Amendment is meant to protect. Therefore, the witness can be compelled to testify and may be held in contempt for refusing. It matters because what this established was the government can compel testimony if it provides sufficient immunity. The privilege against self-incrimination is not an absolute right to remain silent under all circumstances. So, they can't hold him in contempt based on this ruling because they
preposterous.
It looks like that Congress didn't grant constitutionally adequate immunity. So he still could have been held criminally, even though he was pardoned. This could have opened the door for other type of investigations and stuff like that that weren't protected. So another example of our government being fucking idiots. Plus, he's just protecting his friends. You know, like there's people like, again, like this whole big thing, like somehow remember, like the little throwback to Epstein. He was somehow involved in this shit. I forget what it was exactly, but like he was about genetic modifications and shit and getting people involved in it and all that stuff. And they're all protecting each other.
Yep. I get it. That's why it's political theater. Doesn't mean it's not important. It is.
I also want to bring Bell up real quick. He just disappeared down under the screen. He is now out. There he goes. He just popped up like fucking Lauren Boebert at a fucking Beetlejuice musical. He's a
comfortable ride.
Bell went from being stuck in the Strait of Hormuz, and then he ended up in a cave there for a little bit, and now he is getting a ride back home to America in an F-35, and he's sitting in the lap of this
guy.
Israel would never have done that to us.
Sitting in the lap of a pilot. Is that Maverick, Bell?
I don't even know this guy's name.
No, dude, it's fucking Goose, man. That thing's going down.
Bell's like, all right, I'll just sit in your lap on the ride home. We'll just talk about the first thing that pops up.
Did I see somebody in the chat? Did I see Polar Knights call us liberals again? Did that happen?
Yeah, he's just a silly goose.
Not like Bell's goose. I don't think he actually thinks
Bell's goose is a serious goose.
No, but dude, oh shit, what did I just do? God damn it to hell. I done fucked up.
What's that all about?
Click. I hit the wrong key. I hit the wrong hotkey.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
What is going on?
Can somebody explain that to me?
Israel's tapping into us now because we're about to talk about the Iran war.
Little bastard.
And about how we are we're in a place now where it's gone from embarrassing, right? Because we've literally achieved nothing from this war. Nothing whatsoever. Didn't get regime change. Didn't stop Iran from getting a nuke because they were never going to get one in the first place. And everybody knew that knew anything about anything. And the strait got closed, and then we closed it to show that we have power, and then Iran closed it again, and just back and forth we go. So the only thing that's really come out of this is the fact that the entire planet is worse off than it was before it started. It's not about losing the strait anymore. It's not about regime change anymore. It's actually getting realistically dangerous to still be involved in this war. So the Center
more
for
countries are getting involved, dude. Ukraine now is fucking bombing Russian ships that are going to Iran. Ukraine's involved now. Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Now Saudi Arabia. Now Saudi Arabia is starting to get involved. Like, yeah, these two wars are merging. And then I think that's something that no one's really talking about. But these two wars appear to be merging. Ukraine is consulting like America and Israel on how to deal with drone warfare, and Russia and like allegedly Russia and China, even though Trump is saying they're not, is helping Iran, just like how the whole entire world is helping Ukraine. It's not good. It's very ungood.
We're the United States of America. We're going to sit on our asses for this?
God damn it, Mark. Shut the fuck up. The only thing that's keeping this from being a global war at this point is the fact that there isn't anything going on in Asia. However, given the information that I'm about to give you now, that might not last a whole lot longer. Now, it might. It just depends on what China wants to do at this point.
Or North Korea.
Same difference. That
weirdly sounded racist.
Yeah, all Asians look alike. Is that what you're trying to say? I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
You little bastard.
I'm trying to say that. I'm trying to say that China controls North Korea the same way Israel controls the United States, I guess is what I'm saying. So the Center for Strategic and International Studies has put out sort of its latest estimates on American munitions. And I should say key high-end munitions, which are the things that are really, I guess, dangerous.
Yeah. Dumb bombs, bullets, guns, all that shit can be manufactured in mass quickly. It's the smart shit, right? The Patriot missiles. The THAAD missiles.
Estimates related to mid to late 2026 are the numbers that I'm about to give. So the munitions stockpile is at dangerously low levels at this point. And they were already low prior to the Iran war because, munitions going to Ukraine. So they've really been...
And Israel.
They've really... Sure, of course. I thought that just went without saying. So we're going to compare some numbers to pre-Iran war to what we have right now.
Allegedly.
Because pre-2022, I mean, these are estimates, but pre-2022 levels were even higher than what I'm about to tell you. So let's talk about Patriot interceptors, mainly PAC-3 variants. So the pre-Iran war estimate had the United States stockpile at 2,200 to 2,330. Expended in the war, the Iran war, 1,060 to 1,430, which leaves the residual, what we have left, at roughly 759 to 1,100, or even fewer, with 827 in some of the recent CSIS updated accounting for, sort of post-ceasefire activity. So this represents a major reduction from pre-Iran war levels, an even larger cumulative drop from pre-2022. Ukraine received a bunch of Patriot missiles and interceptors and things like that. And the thing is, on these things, production is limited, right? So when we're talking about 55 to 65% total reduction in Patriot missiles, hundreds, not thousands, hundreds are produced per year historically. Right, so we're getting to a point now where it's kind of like the American money supply. The difference is you can't print missiles the same way you can print dollars. So that brings us to THAAD interceptors. So pre-Iran war, 360 to 452. Again, pre-Ukraine, probably a little bit higher. What have we expended? 190 to 290, around half or more in some tallies. So the current residual, anywhere from 70 to 278. Recent estimates are around 184 to 278 after a limited replenishment. So a significant percentage drop from pre-Iran. Pre-22 stocks were even higher, as we talked about. Tomahawks. Let's talk about Tomahawks. Land attack cruise missiles. So pre-Iran war, 3,100. Expended, 850 to 1,000 plus, roughly 27 to 30%. Some analysis notes that higher effective burn rates are higher relative to the recent procurement. So current residual, roughly 2,000 to 2,250 in the estimates. So pre-2022 stocks were higher again. Low annual procurement, dozens to maybe low hundreds is what you're going to get prior to 2028, 2029, maybe 2030. Full return to pre-Iran levels projected into 2030 in some scenarios. So if you've run through 30% of your Tomahawk missiles since the start of the Iran war, Corey.
5 months.
And you're not going to get back to that level until 2030. So air-launched standoff missiles are a little bit easier because they're just easier to make. But pre-Iran war, 4,400. Expended, 1,100. 25 to 42% are the estimates. Current residual, 1,500 to 3,300. Those are a little bit easier to replace. But when we start talking about replenishment, all we have to talk about to make this really a little bit scary is just Tomahawks. So there are currently 55 or so Tomahawk missiles on order from prior contracts, with now the latest estimate of 785 Tomahawk missiles requested by the Pentagon at about $3 billion. The bulk of that order will not arrive until 2030 or later. So just those numbers alone should tell you how this isn't just a matter of like, hey, we tried to do something and failed. What it should tell you is we're actually running out of things to shoot at people, both offensively and defensively. And you had mentioned pre-show, Corey, and I didn't look into this, so I'm going to trust you. But we're looking at a spot now where we're pulling these things away from our allies in Asia. So whether or not that's true, it will be true shortly. And why did I say that China, the ball is kind of in China's court at this point? If China goes to try to take Taiwan tomorrow, what the fuck are we supposed to do about it? What are we supposed to do about it? We don't have the munitions to support it. And if it does happen, are we allowed to call it World War III at that point? Because you're going to have a war in Europe, you're going to have a war in the Middle East, and you're going to have a war in Asia. The only people left out are the Americas. Sounds a lot like a world war to me.
Yeah, it's just the branding. No one's calling it, but that's pretty much what it is.
So, can we stop this now? Like, is Trump's hubris going to keep this going because he can't take a loss? What do you got, Bill?
Well, about an hour ago, he claims to have made a deal with Hamas for the complete disarmament of Hamas and the withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza.
They don't have any people left. They've all been destroyed and genocided. Who the hell did he make a deal with? A corpse? There's nobody left. Allegedly, allegedly Israel just bombed the last fucking mosque in Palestine, or I should say in Gaza, because there's still some left in the West Bank. But like, I don't care. What does that do? What does that give us? The ghost of Lindsey Graham is still on Trump's shoulders, humping the back of his neck, going, "Keep bombing them. Ladybug wants you to bomb them. Keep doing it." It's kind of to a point where we're going to still come on this show and laugh about it, because you got to laugh to keep from crying. But it's realistically, it's not funny anymore. I mean, it was never funny, but it's not, I don't know. There's nothing left at this point. Trump could have saved himself already. I mean, I shouldn't say he could have saved himself. He could have saved the last bastion of dignity that he had left if this had just been over after the MOU, which we all knew was a joke when it came.
So Trump's announced what he called a historic agreement for Hamas to disarm as part of the next phase of the broader Gaza peace plan. According to Trump, the agreement was negotiated through the administration's Board of Peace with the help of regional mediators, including Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey. There's going to be a phased disarmament. Hamas and other armed groups would surrender their weapons in stages rather than all at once. Israeli withdrawal as disarmament progresses. Israeli forces would gradually withdraw from Gaza. New Palestinian administration, a technocratic, god damn it, fucking AI shit. The technocratic Palestinian government would take over governing Gaza, backed by an international stabilization force and restructured Palestinian police force. And the long timeline, as U.S. officials said, dismantling Hamas military capabilities, including tunnels, rockets, and heavy weapons, could take 200 to 350 days. This is from CBS News.
Oh. Zionist news is what you meant to say.
Technocratic government is one that is run primarily by experts and professionals rather than politicians chosen because of party affiliation or ideology.
Did you have to look that up?
I did have to look it up. I made the joke about technocratic being AI, and then I was like, I should probably know the actual fucking.
I mean, today it's kind of the same. Who's the expert?
Yeah.
Is it AI? I think it's AI. How much do you think Trump uses AI? Like, how many times
he does? Look how many fucking videos he's always sharing on his fucking truth of AI slop, dude. He's all up in AI's guts.
No, but I mean, do you think Trump's one of those?
Make me look stronger. Make me look bigger. Make me look smarter.
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
That's why they're building all the data centers.
Like, you think
X,
so
Trump can tweet?
Like, you think X has turned into like 4chan and has been a shit show since Elon took it over?
Oh yeah, no, it absolutely resembles.
Go head over to Truth, dude. It's fucking just.
Have you been on it lately?
Whenever I see someone screenshot one of his posts, and it's like, that can't be real, I'll go on to Truth to find it, and then most of the time it's real.
I've never tootled around on there.
Oh, dude, the comments are all just slop, dude. It's just fucking weird ads and fucking bots. That thing is fucking full of bots. I don't go to it for anything other than just looking up what Trump's dumbass has to say.
Do you think per capita there are more bots on Truth than X?
Absolutely.
Per capita? Yeah. There's
100%.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who uses it. And I know a lot of Trump supporters, but I don't know anybody who's like on Truth Social.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
He's a jealous little bastard.
We don't have a gratuitous Mark Levin rant tonight, do we? That's okay.
No.
We don't necessarily need it. Yeah, it's getting dangerous. You want to talk about Haley Stevens and how embarrassing she is?
Well,
boy.
Another breaking news. Anthropic says its Claude models gained unauthorized access to other organizations' systems. It discovered 3 instances where the Claude AI models accessed the internet during an evaluation and gained unauthorized access to the real systems of 3 different organizations. Company said it found these incidents after carrying out a large-scale retrospective review of its cybersecurity evaluations.
That's pretty terrifying.
Review was prompted by a separate but similar security incident that OpenAI disclosed this week. Do you remember? Like it feels like
was it
months
Flock?
ago.
I wish it was Flock. That'd be dope.
It's that's undisclosed. But do you remember a couple months ago when Anthropic was in the midst of trying to make a military like type deal with the Pentagon to use their systems, and they wanted to integrate it into like their drone use and stuff like that, and Anthropic said no, you can't do that, and Pete Hegseth's response was we're going to use the War Powers Act,
which was,
and Anthropic was like, or like they were like, don't fucking, we can't use it for that, and they're like, well, we're gonna anyways. This sounds like fucking Skynet, dude. This is Skynet from fucking Terminator.
Yeah. Unless they're on the good side and they're trying to get into Flock. Shut it down. Knows the people don't want it.
Yeah, fucking Flock cameras. I give those heroes, the ones who aren't vandals and like breaking them down to catch a case, but they'll just stand in front of it with a big fucking piece of fucking like poster board. And just stand there and block it.
That doesn't do a whole lot. It just keeps it. What's funny is like I wasn't paying attention before, and now I'm just starting to notice them everywhere. I see them everywhere. Like my eye is like trained to see them now. I didn't see them before. This is a black pole. Like I didn't think about it. Now it's like, oh fuck, it's a Flock camera. I'll flip it. I'll flip off every single one of them.
Yeah. And what's insane to me too, like, and like I don't think they're really being used for like speeding tickets or anything yet, but like they're keeping track of where all the cars are, man. They're keeping track of where everyone's driving. And people called me I know, and people were calling me like silly and conspiracy when I
Israel would never have done that to us.
And Mark, come on, dude. People would call me like conspiracy minded and like silly because every time when you go to like 7-Eleven and you buy beer, they scan your ID. They don't just look at the date on it. They just fucking scan it, which is fucking wild because I could walk in there with anybody's ID and I know the drill. I don't even show them the front. I just pick up the back and go, yeah, just go ahead and fucking scan it. Right. And it's just, that's data that's being stored. Corey Walsh bought beer at 7-Eleven in Troy, Michigan on da-da-da-da-da-da date.
That's a very ugly thing to say.
And you're called crazy for that. And then all of a sudden now there's Flock cameras, and now there's a camera everywhere I fucking drive that goes, Corey Walsh was here.
Oh, it's just Corey. It's just to make sure the ID is valid. Come on. Everybody knows
nothing wrong. That data's being sold. Give me a fucking break.
Everybody knows that it's just to keep the kids safe, Corey. Come on. Stop being ridiculous. It's way better for an 18-year-old to not be able to buy a fucking 40 of Mickey's than it is for the government to not have your information. They have to have your information. They need it. And if that means that 18-year-old can't buy a 40 of Mickey's, then so be it. Did I say that right? I don't even know if I said that right. I've had quite a bit to drink tonight. I think everybody knows what I was trying to say. Who knows?
For me to take a position like this, I'm a warmonger.
Yes, you're always a warmonger, Mark Levin. Where was I going with this? Oh, we're going to talk about Haley Stevens. You still there, Corey? Oh, I saw him blink. He's good.
Yeah, nope. I was going down the rabbit hole. I asked
he saw a squirrel. Corey saw a squirrel.
What does 7-Eleven do with the data that it collects from scanning IDs? And it says the information read is name, date of birth, address, driver's license number, expiration date, physical descriptions, They scan it to verify you're above legal age, reduce cashier errors when calculating age, create an electronic record that an ID was checked, which can help the store if it's being audited or investigated. And does it keep the information? There isn't a single nationwide answer. Depending on the store and jurisdiction, the system may only calculate your age and retain personal information, record that an ID was scanned and whether age verification was passed. And some or all of the barcode data for fraud prevention, compliances, or internal record keeping.
But the thing is, Corey, even if it's not like storing it in like some database, say it's localized, right? Like say only that store has access to the information. You mean to tell me that like law enforcement couldn't come in and ask for that information and know exactly where you were at what time? I mean, I guess maybe it would be great if like you're like a suspect in a murder case and you didn't commit the murder and you have an alibi because you were at a 7-Eleven buying beer when the murder took place. Like, I guess that would be all right. But yeah, go ahead.
Generally, a routine age verification scan. I love how it says generally. I like how it always gives itself this like plausible deniability.
Both involved in 9/11.
Age verification scan is not supposed to automatically sign you up for marketing or loyalty programs. If you're using this 7-hour or 7 rewards program or another service where you've agreed to share information, that data may be associated with your account according to the privacy policy. Can law enforcement obtain it? If a store retains scan records, they may be obtainable through legal processes such as a subpoena or search warrant, depending on the circumstances and applicable law.
I got nothing to hide. I don't care.
Well, it's not even about hiding stuff. It's just, I'm there to buy some fucking beer. I'm not there for you to sell my fucking information to someone else so I can get fucking scam calls and fucking, spam calls and telemarketers and all that shit just because I bought beer once.
I don't know, man.
It's kind of bullshit. Just look at my fucking picture on my ID. It's a pretty good photo.
Is it? Do you have a beard in it? Have you gotten a picture taken since you've had the beard?
Yeah, I got a beard. I've had a beard for like 10 years of my life. So
yeah, it doesn't mean shit. I think the picture on my ID is still from like 2013.
I think they asked and I was like, yeah. Because when I was like 20, I thought I could be slick. And then like when I went to get my photo ID and I went really, 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 really high. Just so when they took the photo and I was driving and they see me looking like, oh, he just always looks like this.
Yeah, I don't think that would have worked, Corey. Yeah,
I don't think, I haven't done that. Like, I haven't done that since like 18 years old. This is like fucking 18 years ago. But like young Corey thought he was being slick.
You want to get to Haley Stevens now? What an embarrassment. Yeah, this woman is probably going to be the next senator.
I don't know. You think so?
Dude, after what happened to Thomas Massey, how can I expect anything less? Honest to God. I don't know. I have not done a lot of research on Mike Rogers, who is the Republican candidate. He's probably pro-Zionist too. So as long as Abdul El-Sayed doesn't get it, they'll be probably happy.
Hey, Bell, look up APAC tracker on Mike Rogers real quick.
Yeah, while you go ahead and throw up Haley's first embarrassing ass video, and then you can look that up. We're keeping Bell busy tonight.
Haley Stevens won.
Oh my God, this woman she's so embarrassing. And she has James Clyburn campaigning for her. So she can show that she's got the token black guy behind her. She can show that she's got the black senator from South Carolina. Is he a senator or is he a rep? I don't even know. Jim Clyburn? I don't even remember anymore. They all run together to me at this point.
Oh, damn, that also sounded racist.
I'm talking about Congress people. Fuck you.
I know. I was just fucking with you. He's a U.S. representative from South Carolina.
Yeah, he's a rep. Okay. I was going to say, there's no way South Carolina would elect a black Democrat as their senator. You having problems there, Bell? What's going on?
I changed the screen.
Okay.
Well, why'd you do that?
Good God. I'll be right back.
Change it back.
There you go. It should be popping up. Now, why isn't it popped up? Oh, Jesus Christ.
I got it. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, some of you have seen, there's those cool kids on the internet.
Oh, yeah, so good.
They're doing cool kid
Yeah.
chatter.
They're talking about us, Dan.
Making fun of how I talk.
No.
Not okay.
Not
Says
okay.
my governor. But let's be real. They're making fun of Michigan. They're thinking they're better than us. And what they don't know is I am your voice. And their jokes and their criticism only makes me fight harder.
Oh.
Okay, some of you have seen, there's.
And I don't take no orders from no woman, by the way.
Oh, God.
Mike Rogers has raked in almost $160,000 from pro-Israel donations.
There we go. No surprise there. Dude, Haley Stevens.
They're making fun of Michigan.
Nope, no, they're not.
Making fun of the way I talk.
I can speak as a Michigander. You are not our voice, bitch. And I'm not saying that because you're a Democrat and I really love Republicans. I'm saying that as somebody who knows exactly who and what you are. And the fact that you talk like a sitcom sister-in-law just makes it worse. Doesn't she sound like the annoying sister-in-law on a sitcom?
The what? Yeah, or a mother-in-law, where he's like,
I mean,
the whole bit is like trying to avoid the mother-in-law by I'm gonna take the kids to the park, and then hilarity ensues because the kid gets stuck on the slide or something.
The thing is, that's coming from my governor. What?
I don't listen to women yelling. I tell them to shut up.
Just the way she speaks definitely does not help her. So
She talks like a 1930s gangster. The only thing that's missing is see.
Not only is she terrible on policy, super pro-Israel, but also she's so unlikable. She's awkward.
And she lies.
She's just unbearable. And then you compare her to, as we talked about last week, Abdul El-Sayed, who's well-spoken, kind of handsome, a man of color, if that matters to you.
You're gay!
A little. He did do that weird fucking Justin Timberlake dance, though, didn't he? That was kind of a weird video.
It's getting, you're talking about him.
He's a paper doctor. He's a career administrator. He's not going to be good representation for the state of Michigan.
Right, ask, how many cats does she have?
It's a really fucking good question. I love how he asked that before he asked how many kids she has. Because I don't know. I don't know if she has any kids or even if she's married. I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't really care. But you cannot listen to this woman speak and think she's really I'd go have a beer with her. You know what I mean? She's physically unattractive.
For a little drinking pool.
She's physically unattractive, which I don't really care about that part. But if you don't even have that part, like if she looked like AOC or Nancy Mace, even,
if Lauren Boebert was pulling the
something.
shenanigans that she is and she looked like Haley Stevens, she probably would have been voted out really quick.
I just love how voting for Congress now is I'm going to vote for the hot one.
You mean to tell me that's what you haven't done? That's why I voted for Obama over McCain.
Is that why you voted for Governor Whitmer too?
Well, no, because who was she running against the first time? It was Shooty, and then who was the guy the second time? Was it John James?
No, he never ran for governor.
He ran for Senate.
He might have run for governor, but he was out early.
Who ran?
I don't even remember
the second time.
Oh, it was Tudor Dixon. Tudor Dixon, by the way, was the hotter one of the two. But she was absolutely fucking batshit insane.
Yeah, she was a mess. But yeah, Bill Shooty, the first time he's just like, I'm just Trump endorses me. Like, I remember listening to the debate between Shooty. It was Shooty, Whitmer, and then someone else. When I was trying to decide, that might have been the one where it was John James. And just everything out of Shooty's mouth, like he just leaned into being endorsed by Trump.
Here's the difference, though, Corey. At least Shooty was right, and he actually was endorsed by Donald Trump. Haley Stevens is putting out ads suggesting she has been endorsed by Barack Obama, and she has not.
Nope. She's playing video from 7 years ago of a Barack Obama.
She has
going,
not been
Haley
endorsed
Stevens,
by Barack Obama.
Haley Stevens was one of the architects of the plan to save the big three. Where's Haley Stevens? Can I get a glass of water?
Obama and Larry Sinclair had a steaming love affair. Obama and Larry Sinclair had a steamy love affair. Larry looked into the eyes of Obama, the Mac Daddy, and they put a spell on Obama, the Mac Daddy. Obama said to Larry, oh, you're just my style and my kind. Oh, you look like just what I want, my man, woman, and half whatever look to look like. Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. Obama and Larry Sinclair had a steamy love affair in the back of a limo, and then at the Holiday Inn, they had a steaming love affair.
Good God. I'll be right back.
Whatever look to look like.
What's it called? Yeah, like secondhand embarrassment, where it's just like every time that one, like we haven't played that one in probably like 2 years because we always just hit the short one. But I forgot how goddamn funny that is. Where he's just riffing. He's just having a good time.
Impressive pipes he's got. I'll tell you what.
The biggest load that we've seen.
You want to see Haley Stevens embarrassing herself again?
Valiant Thor said liberals on COVID. We follow the science. Liberals on gender. There's no such thing as science. Which, that's a true statement. But you could also say the same shit about conservatives when it comes to like my body, my choice. When it was about COVID, they were yelling, my body, my choice. But when it comes to women's reproductive rights, they want the government to come down hard. So yeah, it's what we talk about this show a lot. Welcome to the show. I think this might be your first time here, but it's something we talk about a lot, of how these silly things like you mentioned a valid point. Both sides pull this bullshit.
Sorry. And we have a new watcher. You know what that means.
Time for a little drinking pool.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to you, Valiant.
Where the hell were we? Oh, we were at Haley Stevens.
Oh, Lord!
She embarrassed herself again.
Oh,
God, she is just not cute. I mean, she is just... She's no Lauren Boebert or AOC, that's for sure. Although, have you noticed AOC is physically becoming less attractive as she stays in Congress? And she's still not an old woman yet or anything like that. She's just, I can't. It's like her teeth are getting bigger every time I see her. Does that make sense? Her eyes.
I don't know, maybe. I looked up AOC today and she's still just, she's a pretty woman.
I suppose, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the socialist.
The picture of her in the tax the rich fucking dress when she was hobnobbing with the elitists.
All right, let's watch Haley Stevens embarrass herself just one more time in front of reporters.
Just one more time. Just one more little time.
Go ahead, Bill.
Congresswoman, you said today you didn't take money from utilities, but you got checks from consumers and DTE a month before you entered the Senate race.
Yeah, he asked specifically about the Senate race. And look,
How do
you talk that way?
He just asked about my current campaign. Yeah, Sam, did you have something?
Will you take donations from consumers and DTE?
Look, I'm running to beat Mike Rogers, and you heard tonight my opponent, make all these wild accusations talking about employee monies that come from corporations are the root of the problem, except I'm leading the charge to take on DTE right now. I am leading the charge to say that you were
while they give you money for your
and I
campaign.
am going to strip your federal funds and force you to cut executive pay. I think that is damn good for the people of Michigan and what they need right now.
But will you
Thank
take
you.
money
Thank you.
from
Thank you.
You're not answering.
Yeah. Look, I'm trying to get to the United States Senate. Like, you can keep pushing me. I have no idea, if we're going to be able to do these major reforms, but
She said everything you needed to hear. She said everything you needed to hear when she said, I'm trying to get to the United States Senate. Like, she said the quiet part out loud. That's what's important.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
I got an even better one than that drop.
Shut up, bitch.
Yeah. That tells you, she said the quiet part out loud when she said
forever to say nothing.
I'm trying to get to the United States Senate. Not like I'm trying to do what's best for Michiganders. She can sit there and wax poetic all she wants about trying to take on DTE. For anybody who is not a Michigander like Corey and I are, DTE is essentially the monopoly that is our power company.
I also got to say that she looks much worse in 3 frames a second, too, than she does.
I think to be honest with you, I think she looks better.
Come on now, you expect me to believe that?
You don't have to see her mouth moving around like when she talks like a Wisconsin.
Why does she? First of all, she's from Michigan. Why does she talk like a Wisconsinite?
I was gonna say you're welcome. Corey
Can you shut up?
Corey's got to listen in double speed before the show.
Hey, yeah, that was off show when we were trying to catch up and finish the debate. So we were watching it on 2 times speed. So we were watching that in like 80 frames a second versus 3.
It's not a favor.
You sure about that?
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, she's I'll say it. She's a cunt. And I don't want her to be my...
That'll get you fired from Detroit Press.
I don't want her to be my senator, but I don't want Abdul al-Sayed to be my senator either. I have no choices here.
You can just shut up because you hate America and you love abortion.
I don't want Mike Rogers to do it either. This is the rock and a hard place we find ourselves in. But this is a big Senate seat. I mean, this matters. It's a huge Senate seat.
It does. It matters. And this is what we're stuck with, I guess.
I'm going to take on DTE, but more importantly, I need to get to the United States Senate.
She's not going to take on DTE. Nobody takes on DTE.
And then what'd she say in the end there? Hopefully the reforms and stuff works. What kind of message is that?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
like Kamala Harris type floundering.
I hope it works. Like when you are running to be elected for something, you say, I am going to make such and such thing happen. We all know you're full of shit.
Because now what people perhaps had never seen before can be seen to know what's possible.
Can somebody explain that to me?
We have to stay woke.
Oh, man. I mean, this woman is just an absolute... She's probably going to win. That's the thing. She's probably going to win this primary. AIPAC has pumped way too much money into it.
I have no faith. Yeah, after the Thomas Massey thing.
I'm not somebody who supports Abdul al-Sayed, but I kind of hope he wins this primary because I've said it on the show multiple times. I don't support anybody who considers themselves a democratic socialist. Although he did say in the debate that he says he's a capitalist.
Yeah, I actually, yeah. Let me find it real quick. I have 2220 written down. So I'm going to throw it on right here.
The problem is, while you find that, Corey, the problem is these people are all climbers. They're remarkably unimpressive. They're administrator types. Nobody runs for office that actually wants to do anything other than climb, other than very, very few exceptions. I put Thomas Massey in that category. Depending on the day, I put Rand Paul in that category because at the end of the day, let's face it, Rand Paul's not his dad.
We got a new watcher. You know what that means.
Time for a little drinking pool.
Welcome to the show. 3F by Sky.
What's going on? I don't know. You tell us.
Yeah,
what is going on?
And I said, "Hey, yeah,
I like that. I like that still shot of Abdul. He is a handsome Arabic man. I will give him credit for that.
So here he is, actually, like, not calling himself a socialist.
We need to be serious about the incoming threat that's going to make all of this so much worse.
Thank you both, and thank you, Hannah, for your question. I want to address both of the candidates, and by the way, we are going to get to some text message questions as well from all of you at home. But I want to talk specifically about your campaigns, and I think it's noteworthy that one of the reasons we're doing this debate is to contrast the two of you, where you stand on so many issues, but also on how you go about doing your business, how you campaign. Dr. El-Sayed, I'll begin with you. The Democratic Socialists of America have not made an endorsement in this particular race, but when you go to our rally, and we've covered so many of them are from that organization. Who are you when it comes to your political stripes? Many people call you progressive. Some have accused you of being a socialist. Not that that's a bad word, but people have said that.
Yes, it is.
Where do
stop
you stand?
Stop it, Roop. Yes, it is.
Politics. Roop, I'm a doctor and a scientist. I want policy solutions
You're a
that
paper
actually
doctor.
map to the problems that we face. My governing experience is rebuilding a health department in the city of Detroit, leading Wayne County's Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services. We have to go in there and work with a diverse community to be asking what are the challenges we face and how do we actually solve them. We were able to identify the fact that our county ranked number 8 for medical debt nationwide, and we could eliminate that for a penny on the dollar. So we set aside $7 million to raise up to $700 million medical debt.
Shut up.
When
The man is
kids
speaking.
couldn't get glasses, 30% of them would get tested positive for needing glasses and wouldn't get a pair. We put optometrists on vans outside of schools so that as soon as a kid got a positive test, they go out, get a full optometric exam, and get a pair of glasses delivered within 2 weeks of a vision test. Now, working with a diverse community of people, you come to realize that not every solution fits the same way. You've got to be thinking about a solution in the right way. When it comes to the question of socialism, I'm not a socialist. I'm just a capitalist who understands how capitalism works. The biggest threat to capitalism
it hurt him to
was
say
never
that.
The idea of
He was like,
government
I'm just
regulation. It was always monopoly. I want you to think about the stuff that you have to buy, whether it's your groceries and the number of stores you can go to, or it's buying a flight to see your grandmother, or it's picking a phone or a phone provider. You have like 2 or 3 options, and that shouldn't be legal, but that's the way our economy works right now. So I think government ought to be there to regulate on monopolies and oligopolies so that everybody can actually participate in an economy without having to be forced to pay more or get paid less for the work they do.
He's wrong.
So that right there.
He's wrong. He's wrong. He's wrong. He's wrong. He's wrong. The government doesn't need to involve itself in taking down monopolies and oligopolies.
That's where I was going to go next. He points out the problem, but what caused those companies to be able to become monopolies other than them lobbying and making the government being the arbiter of the winners and the losers in a free market society? Leftists are really, really good at pointing out the problems, but their solution to the problem of government picking winners and losers is always more government. And it's like,
every time.
Syed, you were there. You said it.
You almost had it. You almost had it.
So close. Brighton Eyes is in the house.
That's the thing. He speaks really well. You know, I mean, Obama-esque, honestly.
And again,
yeah.
I'll take him over Haley Stevens. But nobody, like, there is no sacred cows. You know what I mean?
Hezbollah!
I think that every American should be able to criticize any politician without fear that, whoa, the other one might win if I criticize him too much. It's bullshit. It's fucking stupid. That's how we got into the problem that we're in right now.
The thing is, it is so obvious how much more impressive he is as just as a speaker than Haley Stevens. Like, it's just not even. It's. I mean,
here's
it
a
is.
question, Dan.
Yeah.
3If by Sky asked, you don't think it's good for the government to break up big monopolies?
No, it's not, because they shouldn't have to. Monopoly. Can I explain this, Corey? Would you like me to explain this? Monopolies are not inherently a bad thing. It's weird for some people to hear. They're not inherently a bad thing. In a free market, a monopoly is actually a good thing, because what does it mean? It means that you are providing a good or a service, if you own said monopoly, that is at a reasonable price and does the thing that it's supposed to do, right? Now, a government coming in, or I should say that, let me start with this. If it gets to a point where you're not providing that good or service at a reasonable price, or you're not providing as good of a product
in a free market,
competition comes in and fills that void. They either sell it cheaper. Maybe it's not as good of a product, but it's cheaper. Or, actually, there is no or. That's pretty much what they do. Or they provide a better service. Now, what does government have to do with this? What did John D. Rockefeller do with Standard Oil? I always give this example. John D. Rockefeller undercut his competition, or he bought them all out. And then he would jack the prices up. So now the kerosene is above its market value. So what happens? New competition comes in. So John D. Rockefeller has to go back.
A new kerosene, oil, like an oil field, new oil field is discovered, and people offer a cheaper alternative. And then he would have to lower the prices again.
Or buy them out or undercut them. And what John D. Rockefeller finally figured out was the only way to hold on to his monopoly with Standard Oil was to do what?
By lobbyists and
by
congressmen.
politicians.
And then they create regulations, because it's cheaper for the big companies to spend $10 million to the point where, like, every year on lobbying and like paying for congressmen and their campaigns and stuff, because then it becomes a fixed cost versus a variable cost. A company like Walmart, who has a monopoly on, selling cheap goods in our country. Like, let's be honest, I could go on Temu, and if I wanted to sell a widget at the cheapest price possible, I could go on Temu and buy them and then sell them. But I'm not going to be able to compete with Walmart, because I'm not going to be able to pay people at ridiculously low prices, because Walmart is a big company whose whole entire fucking business plan is based on hiring people at really cheap wages that are subsidized by the government through, WIC, through Section 8, through all these different things. Their whole business platform is based on relying on a workforce that is subsidized by our tax-paying dollars, that it wouldn't be able to afford doing so if things like that weren't happening. Another example of this is craft beers. There's regulations put in place that are absolutely just silly and arbitrary, to where it's like, if you were a craft beer distributor, I think
these are state-based, by the way.
What's that?
The craft beer laws are state-based. It's different.
Right, but like there was like a federal law of what made you between a craft beer, because Sam Adams had to lobby
anything about that.
It was like a million. It was like a really low number. I don't remember exactly what the number is, but it was like a number to where, let's say Bud Light and all of them are doing like 10 million or 100 million barrels a year of beer, and they're selling it nationwide. The tax bracket for that is substantially higher than it is for who would be considered craft beer. And craft beer was like 100,000 gallons or like barrels or something like that. It was such a low number that somebody couldn't do a startup of a beer company and then be able to compete with the big companies, because they couldn't afford the tax, like the tax to be a like the liquor license essentially. And Sam Adams had to lobby the government to loosen that restriction and that regulation. It's the regulations, and then it's the big beer companies that are actually funding things like at what's that called? Oh my God, the Burgerfeld. The Burgerfeld, like when lobbyists and stuff and all of them go into these conventions, and they basically have pre-written fucking bills that they try to hand to
right
the Congress members.
The
Yeah,
point
no.
is, the point is,
Go ahead.
governments cause monopolies. Government causes the monopoly, and then they get to campaign like Abdul Al-Sayed is doing here, or probably Haley Stevens. They get to campaign on breaking up these monopolies. DTE is not going to be broken up when either of these.
Yeah. So so for Michigan, for example, we have one power company called DTE, and regulations and legislation blocks anyone else. Like, I know it sounds fucking weird and crazy, but like if I had owned 1 million acres, or even 1,000 acres, let's say in the middle of Michigan, and I ended up being on a fucking just literal coal mine, and I want to excavate that coal, and I just want to build the infrastructure, and I'm willing to pay for the power lines to the people around me and offer a cheaper power source to people around me. And as you get bigger, you make your power lines go further and stuff like that. The government would stop that. They would just stop it. They wouldn't allow it. And 3F by Sky asks, so it's more self-correcting. Yeah, because it's decentralized. It is competition. It's it creates more innovation. It creates more
corporations lobby government to stifle their competition, and that's how monopolies are created.
The reason why you can't buy a really cheap EV right now in America, whether you're for or against EVs or you're for or against like combustion engines, you think climate change is a hoax, all that aside, the reason you can't buy like a $13,000 EV car from China is because there's bills blocking you from buying cheaper cars, because it's a protectionist policy that's going to hurt American auto workers. Where if that protectionist policy wasn't there, and then all of a sudden the market's being flooded with these really cheap EVs, the auto industries here would be forced to compete with that, and then also offer either better EVs or EVs at a cheaper price. But these protectionist policies just absolutely hurt these things to where, like, look at, like, whereas if in a more unregulated market, look at plasma TVs. When plasma TVs first came out, they were thousands of dollars.
Eric Boehm, I'm not a huge fan. Hold on. I just want to throw this out there. I'm not a huge fan of Reason because I don't think they're actual libertarians. However, Eric Boehm did a wonderful podcast. I think it's about 11 episodes. It's called Why We Can't Have Nice Things. Check it out. I actually recommend this one. It's all about the way protectionist policies and government essentially cause monopolies. Anyway.
Yeah. No, like, so what I was saying is, like, look at plasma TVs. When those first came out, it was only like rich people able to afford them. You had to make a lot of money to go out and buy a fucking $2,000 TV, like in the early 2000s. And then it's essentially an unregulated market. Now look at it. You can buy a TV now better than any of those TVs back then for $200-$300. Look at shoes. Dave Smith brings up shoes often. Shoes aren't regulated, and even homeless people have shoes. Another thing to recommend to get a grasp on just the idea of the free market, right, is Basic Economics by Tom Sowell.
Well, anything by Thomas Sowell is good.
Yeah, but Basic Economics is a good one. Just the free market is a living, breathing machine that it when it's decentralized, it's easier to correct than a giant bureaucracy of people at the top deciding and picking and choosing the winners and losers.
Problems occur in a free market. However, they're self-correcting problems.
And there's pitfalls. Like, don't get me wrong. There's pitfalls. There's highs and lows. There's winners and losers in a fucking free market system as well. But I would rather it be 1 million people with their fingers in the pot deciding on how this is going to work and everyone trying to do their part versus a couple hundred at the top. Like when in 2008, when we had our housing crisis, those banks, they should have failed. They didn't do their job. They should have fucking failed. But they got bailed out.
That is a wonderful example of the people are going to think I'm crazy when I say this. That's a wonderful example of the failures of socialism, right? Because what do socialists always say? It's always something to the effect of workers need more money, right? Pay a living wage, right? These are the things that Bernie Sanders always says. He never tells you what a living wage is. He'll say minimum wage should be $20 or whatever it is. But it's like, okay, well, why not $30? Why not $1,000? Why not $4,000? It's a reductio ad absurdum, right?
I guess you would say in a free market is when that's not being dictated. If someone has a business and they're paying too low of wages, those people aren't going to work for you. At the Walmart,
Right.
the example, going back to Walmart,
Right.
no
Well,
one would be able to survive or work at Walmart if they weren't being subsidized by the government with different, which don't get me wrong, some of these programs, they help people and they keep people from being homeless or being destitute or being like below the bottom rung of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
I
But
have to let the
Walmart would
people
have
know.
to raise their wages. Walmart would have to raise their wages if they wanted to have the business model they had if it wasn't subsidized by the government.
I have to let any new listeners know that Corey has this awful habit of when I'm like trying to make a point and I'm right in the middle of it, he interrupts me.
Good God. I'll be right back.
And now I forgot what my point was.
Sorry about that. Let's continue with the subject at hand.
Now I completely forgot what my point was because I've had too many beers and Corey did his thing.
Thank you for
What we
your diatribe.
Israel would never have done that to us.
Yeah, they wouldn't have. No, shit, what the fuck was I gonna say now?
We were talking about minimum wage and wages.
Oh yeah. Where so the reason that what you had mentioned before is such a good example of socialism is that socialists do this thing where they go there needs to be, more profit sharing, right? Like essentially the workers should have more of a say. The workers should own things. There shouldn't be ownership. But the thing is, they do this thing where they want to socialize the profits, Corey, but they don't want to socialize the losses, which is exactly what the 2008 crash was. It was a corporate version of that. You see what I'm saying? They wanted to privatize the profits of those subprime mortgages. But when it was time to collect on the losses, well, now we need a government bailout.
Yeah.
Now we have to socialize the losses. But that's exactly how socialists think of it for themselves as well. They want, the living wage and more of a partnership and profit sharing and everything and all of these things. But what happens when the business fails? Do those workers that are involved in the profit sharing, are they involved in loss sharing as well? Or does the owner or the group of owners
the government
of that
bail
company, or does the owner or the group of owners or the board of that company have to do with all the losses because they're the ones that assume all the risk? See, this is the thing that's always missed in socialism.
Yes. What exactly happened in 2008? So what happened is it's interesting, right? Because it goes to what we're talking about, where there was like government deregulation, where the banks the banks were supposed to have a certain amount of assets to protect, like in their bank accounts, to protect the loans and mortgages that they have. The government decided to deregulate that. So they went out on a limb and they were loaning out all this money and they had nothing to protect it. And then all of a sudden there was a giant bubble because they all just started giving loans to people who just could not fucking afford it. And they were giving out balloon loans. Balloon loans, for example, is a loan that you would have for, let's say, 6 months where you don't pay anything on it. And then when that 6 months hits, you owe a shit ton of money on your house. Now, that's great for contractors and for people flipping homes, but they were giving those type of loans to people who were buying homes to live in them. And so all of this deregulation, which there are people that they might have been able to take advantage of that in a free market. You know, that's possible. The problem is these banks fucking failed at their job and weren't able to properly like pay the money when the taxpayer came, when the chips were down. And instead of those banks failing and allowing new banks to kind of fill in their places that would be more like smart with their money, the government just bailed them out. And then they took that money and they did stock buybacks. Then there was the quantitative easing into the stock market. Trillions of dollars were spent to try to stabilize the economy, which causes inflation because every single time a dollar is printed, the dollar before it is worth less. And yeah, that's basically what happened. Like the banks were just,
I'll tell you what,
they thought they were essentially playing with house money and they lost. And then the dealer said, "Don't worry, here's your money back."
I'll tell you what, just go look up 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. That's what it was. All these subprime mortgages to people that could not afford.
And what's crazy is the subprime mortgage crisis, the causation of that was the government trying to fix a crash before that because of the .com bubble. It's like what's happening with AI right now. Everyone's pumping money into the AI stock. Well, eventually everyone's going to realize that the AI, like the juice ain't worth the squeeze. And there's probably going to be a stock market crash with AI. And
the big guys will survive. Just like with the .com bubble.
The big guys will survive because the government will bail them out. But when the .com bubble happened in the early 2000s, and I believe that was under Clinton, and then Bush came in, and Bush was the one who put in this, his administration was the one to help push the housing, which essentially caused the housing crisis. But the .com bubble caused a minor recession, and to try to stifle that problem was they allowed the banks to do the subprime loans. And then about 6 years later, the housing crash happened.
It's just kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You want to end on something fun? You want to end with Chuck Schumer?
Yeah, sure.
Chuck Schumer. You got him ready for us, Bill? I sent you the Chuck Schumer video, didn't I, Bill? He's sitting there giving that fucking pilot a blowjob. There he is. Nope, that pilot's in his butt.
He's shaking his head.
Is that pilot Lindsey Graham? Be honest.
I never sucked any ding dongs.
Did I not send you that? I didn't send you Schumer?
You sure didn't.
Really? Hold on.
It sounds like the windows are down on that jet.
Oh, never mind. I do have it.
I thought I sent you Chuck Schumer. Yeah, what? Yeah, you want to roll up the windows on that jet?
Go Bills.
No, I can't. It's a jet, Dan.
Is that one of the F-35s that just got bombed? So hold on, before you play this, Bell, let me set it up. That's my own fault for not setting it up. I'm not blaming Bell for this at all. This is totally my fault. So Chuck Schumer was speaking about Trump's corruption. And as with a lot of things when it comes to government partisanship, there's always some nuggets of truth. But according to Dropsite News, journalist Sam Husseini confronted New York Senator Chuck Schumer as he held a press conference about President Donald Trump's corruption, citing a November 2023 warning that Schumer received from the Center for Constitutional Rights and other legal and human rights groups about potential liability for aiding, abetting, inciting, or conspiring to commit genocide through congressional actions. So that's why Husseini's here. Go ahead and roll it, Bill. Who is this broad?
I'm so glad that you're all here today with us to
Looks like
really
my
dig in on
sister-in-law.
these themes,
Weirded me
to
out.
feature a set of experts and senators as they
This
share
is
their
not
take
the
on
video.
corruption. And
Yes,
what
it
we need to
is.
do to
Yes, it is.
combat
Give it a
I
second.
am thrilled
Okay.
to hand the mic to our first speaker, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Now, in 2016, his false promise to the American people that he would drain the swamp. The presidency is supposed to be a public trust. Has turned it.
Oh, Bell,
Senator,
pause it.
How can you talk about corruption when you back
Pause it. Bell's running at about 5 frames per second. I'm going to throw this up here.
Yeah, it wasn't even. You couldn't even hear it.
I don't know what it is about Bell and his computer. Like it's almost like it gets tired. Like the first few videos weren't too bad. They've steadily gotten a little bit more a little bit more frame oriented. I'm going to pull it up here.
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
I don't know what happens. It's like his internet gets tired or something. Here we go. I'll start it from the
He's
top.
on dial up.
Themes to feature a set of experts and senators as they share their take.
He said that every time in the screen in the bottom. He's always like, "Fuck."
Hand the our first speaker, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Now, in 2016, Trump sold his false promise to the American people that he would drain the swamp. The presidency is supposed to be a public trust.
You are the swamp,
Trump has
dickhead.
turned it into the single most profitable.
Senator, you talk about corruption. How can you talk about corruption when you back genocide? What could be more corrupt than backing genocide? This is part of the same con with you and Trump playing off of each other. Oh, he's worse. Oh, he's worse.
He's right.
You were put on notice in November of 2023 by the Center for Constitutional Rights and other legal and human rights
Rub those papers
organizations.
against your
Notice
microphone.
on potential legal liability for aiding, abetting, inciting, or conspiring to commit genocide through congressional acts and demands. You were put on notice, and you backed it, and you backed the genocide
Put on
to the hilt
notice.
for years on end. How dare you talk about corruption? How dare you talk about corruption?
Thank you for your diatribe.
Oh, you get to make a speech every day. You get to make a hypocritical speech every day, and God forbid you should be questioned about your diabolical record. It's amazing that you can show your genocidal face in public, Mr. Senator. Mr. Senator. Shame on public citizens for not allowing
Watch him bump
to
the sign.
Genocidal maniac. Shame, yeah. Corrupt.
That felt like Larry David right there. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Let's continue with the subject at hand. Okay. The presidency is supposed to be a public trust.
Go Bills.
Trump has turned it into the single most profitable scam of his entire life.
Time for a little drinky poo.
Dude, that was a scene out of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Oh, and it's so sad because Husseini was obviously talking about something really serious. And the thing is, he was right. The sign just fell over on its own. And he went, yeah. Oh my God. Oh, I could watch that 65 fucking times and never stop laughing at that.
Preposterous.
Thank you for your diatribe. Sorry about that. Let's continue with the subject at hand.
For me to take a position like this, I'm a warmonger.
Israel would never have done that to us. Both involved in 9/11.
Fucking Dan
Oh my
losing
God.
his shit over there.
I don't think I've ever laughed this hard on this show before in my life.
Sorry
Okay.
about that. Let's continue with the subject at hand. Thank
I don't
you.
even want to play. I don't
Sorry
even
about
want. I don't even want to play the other one.
Dumb.
Because you might remember Sam Husseini from. You might remember Sam Husseini from when he went off on Anthony Blinken as Anthony Blinken was leaving the Biden administration. He was physically manhandled and taken out of the room.
I don't give a fuck.
God. I can play
So,
it.
JD Vans. What a great name. Look at this guy. His name is awesome.
It's awesome.
The Fauci's lawyers are all wearing earpieces and look shady as fuck. Rand Paul kicked one of them out.
The guy that sat at the desk when he wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, so you have to go back and watch the show from the beginning. He said that dude was pardoned. He's untouchable. Everything points towards him, but he will never pay for COVID, regardless of his involvement with the spread of it. We talked about that pretty extensively earlier in the show. We're actually starting to wrap up, but thanks for coming to hang out.
The fact that he was publicly embarrassed. Time for a little drinky poo?
Yeah, I was looking for it. God damn it.
Time for a little drinky poo.
We have a new listener. Time for a little drinky poo. I will say this. It is a small victory that Fauci was embarrassed the way that he was yesterday. It's a small victory. Better than nothing. Okay. Should we end the show? We're 2 hours in.
He's my grandpa's
and my
roommate
lungs
from college. Is he talking about Fauci?
I hope so.
If he's actually true, that might be someone we might need to fucking talk to and be like,
He did say he was born in 2008. That tracks.
Was it really though, or is
You're not that smart. I know what's going on. You're just showing off on friggin' TV again.
Three's a woman, by the way. We made a mistake and assumed her gender.
I'm sorry. You know, we try really hard to not do that on this show. And like Liberty Twitcher, the one guy that's like a girl, we had this long running joke that we're not sure what they are.
Yeah, maybe you go down on her, dude. Don't be selfish. Don't be a sexist.
We just assume women aren't allowed to listen to our show.
She tastes like cigarettes.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, we have all just participated in a hate crime.
I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America?
I think we need to right this listing ship.
Yeah.
To get the hell out of here.
We do.
Sorry about that. Let's continue with the subject at hand.
Oh my God.
Oh, God damn it, Chuck Schumer. What else you have to say?
Oh, fucking A. JD Vans asked if we misgendered someone and he called us a bigot. Or she.
Can somebody explain that to me?
I just misgendered JD Vans. I don't even know.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't.
How did you fuck that couch? Tell the people where they can find us, Corey.
Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com.
Ooh, look
Subscribe
at that. It says
today.
TikTok. Ooh, look at Ooh, look at that. It says TikTok.
God damn it.
We get anybody yelling around here anymore today, and then the shit is going to hit the fan.
Anyway, for Bella Body Snatcher, who's been on the ones and twos all night, he, as always, is Corey Walsh.
And he's Dad Griffin.
It's been Libservative Intellectual Idiots Fostering Political and Cultural Literacy and the world's smartest internet show. And until next time, we are out of here.
Under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you.
The great fundamental issue now before our people we the people cannot turn back. Somebody must lead, or else the fight would not be made at all.